I recently received this comment on one of my videos, and I thought I'd tell you a story about that. When I was about 15 or 16 maybe, I was at a random party. I was chatting with my girlfriends, and we were just talking about dating and silly teenage stuff in general. Out of nowhere, one of my friends, who is far from sober, dropped this line. I can never date someone who's not white. I mean, all the other races look the same to me. And I remember the rest of us being completely shocked. Like, girl, you cannot say that. That's racist. You can't just say people from other races all look the same. I was honestly weirded out that she said that out loud. Fast forward a few years. I get this chance to move to South Korea, a whole new word for me since I did not know a single thing about Korean culture, not even K-dramas or K-pop. I just landed there, my first time ever in Asia, jet-lagged and completely clueless. After a few days of living in Seoul, I caught myself thinking the exact same thing. Like, damn, everyone looks the same. Am I racist? Now, it might be worth highlighting that South Korea is specifically known for being a really homogeneous society, not just in terms of ethnicity, but also in style. There's this huge cultural value on fitting in, so a lot of people I met had similar hairstyles, similar outfits, even the same makeup. And I didn't realize all this at first, so I thought it was just my brain playing tricks on me. Now, a few weeks later, I'm at a bar with Korean friends and we're having a bit too much soju. I was brave enough to confess my observation. And they bursted out laughing. They were like, honestly, all white people look the same to me. I can't tell them apart at all. And then a few months later, I'm visiting family in Mozambique. And over dinner, someone randomly said, bro, all white girls look the same. And that's when it hit me. This isn't just my friend. This isn't just me. It's a human thing. So I did what I usually do and I went down the research rabbit hole. And it turns out there's a name for this phenomenon. It's called the cross-race effect. And it's not about racism, it's about how our brains are wired. TLDR, you're not racist, you just have a lazy-ass brain. Let's break down the key concepts. First, humans are better at what they practice. Our brains are essentially pattern recognition machines. The more often we see something, like faces from our own community, the better our brain gets at picking up subtle differences without us even realizing it. It's a bit like muscle memory, but for visual processing. Your brain builds a sort of database of familiar face features over time, which makes it faster and more accurate at telling people apart. 2. We have neural shortcuts. There's a part of your brain called the fusiform face area, which is like the VIP section for face recognition specifically. When it sees familiar types of faces, for example, faces you've had lots of exposure to, it lights up like, ha! I know this. But when it sees faces from a group you haven't spent much time with, the neural activation is weaker and less precise. Your brain doesn't process all the details, it kind of glosses over it. It's almost like your brain says, close enough, I'll just put everything in the same category as the ones I've already seen. 3. The they all look the same illusion does actually exist. It's not that the other races actually look the same, it's that our brain isn't trained to see the differences yet. Kind of like if you don't read Korean, all Hangul characters might look the same at first, but if you learn the language, you start to differentiate all the shapes. And here's where it gets personal again. I grew up in a place where I was surrounded by white, North African, and Middle Eastern people. But you know what I didn't grow up around? East Asian faces. So when I landed in Korea, my brain was like, I don't have the software for this. I just hadn't trained that part of my visual system yet. And science backs this up. One study found that if kids are exposed to other race faces before age 6, they can recognize those faces just as well as their own race, for life. After that age, it gets much harder. Your brain gets locked in on what it already knows. Now, no one's immune to the cross-race effect. It doesn't matter where you're from, this happens everywhere if you don't grow up with people from different races. It doesn't say anything about you, it's more about what your brain has practiced seeing. Especially when you're a kid, before the age of 6, your brain is soaking in the faces around you. But you're not choosing where you're born, you're not picking the people you'll be surrounded with at that age. That's just environment. Now, the good news is, you can totally change this. The more you're exposed to other faces with real, close, meaningful interactions, the better your brain gets at spotting details. There's even research showing that just consciously paying attention, like literally telling yourself, look for differences, starts rewiring your brain patterns. And this is why representation matters. The faces we grow up seeing in our schools, in the movies, in the games we play, those faces actually shape our brain's ability to notice difference. I've heard many stories from Black friends who stayed in China or Japan, and they'll tell you it's like no matter who you are, some people will call you Will Smith or Beyonce. And this is just because those are the only Black faces some people have seen over and over in the media. It's not a matter of hate, it's a matter of exposure. And yes, studies show that the more diverse your environment is, whether it's your actual community or just the media you consume, the better your brain gets at recognizing all kinds of faces. Now, exploring this topic made me think about how quick humans are to label things they don't fully understand. How often do people just say, oh, they're all like that, because they haven't taken the time to actually notice the differences? Maybe the real lesson is slow down and make your brain work a bit. The more you open yourself up to new faces and new stories, the better you'll get. If you found this interesting, please like this video, leave a comment, and if you want to hear more weird things our brains do, hit subscribe.